This is WFYI News Now. It's September 5th, and I'm Zach Bundy sitting in for Abriana Herron. On today's show, some Hoosiers push back on the idea of requiring all counties to use vote centers. Indiana FSSA cuts voucher reimbursement rates for the Child Care Development Fund. And as the climate warms, a species normally seen in the South is moving north.
By default, I had to learn how to care for these guys.
Those stories coming up, but first. Life expectancy data in Indianapolis shows significant disparities among neighborhoods. In some areas, including the near north side, residents are only expected to live into their 60s. As Ben Thorpe reports, it's been nearly a year since the launch of the Indy Health District, an initiative that hopes to change those statistics.
The Indy Health District launched with the goal of ensuring that large investments into the city's near north side, including a new downtown Indianapolis hospital, wouldn't leave those living in the area behind. Jamal Smith is the executive director for the district, which is supported through partnerships with IU Health, Ivy Tech, the Indianapolis Children's Museum, Citizens Energy, and several neighborhood groups. He says the goal is to improve people's lives within the district.
We want to do so in a way that targets that life expectancy, which is extremely important to the bottom line as well.
Smith says the district is tackling the issue through housing initiatives and career supports. The district is also exploring access to fresh food and childcare. I'm Ben Thorpe.
Indiana lawmakers this year tasked the Secretary of State's office with studying whether to require all counties to use vote centers. Brandon Smith reports some Hoosiers are pushing back on the idea at a series of public meetings on the issue.
Vote centers allow voters in a county to cast their ballot at any polling place instead of one tied to their precinct. 2/3 of Indiana counties use vote centers, a number that's grown steadily since they were introduced more than a decade ago. But some Hoosiers object to them. Ann Eames is from Howard County. She worries about technology problems, particularly with electronic poll books.
My poll book at my center did not match the poll book at the county courthouse during an election. It's like, good grief, that's a major issue, because we had voters that weren't showing up in our poll book that they said, yeah, they're in our poll book down at the county.
All Indiana counties use electronic poll books, even non-vote center ones. The Secretary of State's office will submit a report to lawmakers this fall that includes public feedback. I'm Brandon Smith at the State House.
The Indiana Family and Social Services Administration is cutting voucher reimbursement rates for the Child Care and Development Fund. Tamoria Cunningham reports the agency says the cuts are meant to address a $225 million funding gap.
Adam Allison is with the FSSA's Office of Early Childhood and Out-of-School Learning. He says the previous administration over-enrolled children in the state's CCDF program, a state-administered federal program that provides financial support to low-income families for childcare. He says as a result of over-enrollment, the prior administration used temporary COVID relief funding without a sustainable plan, leaving FSSA to choose between slashing reimbursement rates for providers or removing children from the program.
We've regrettably had to make a tough but necessary decision to prioritize children over child care providers.
In a statement opposing the cuts, Democratic Representative Carrie Hamilton says they will cause working families to choose between their job or staying at home with their children. I'm Tamoria Cunningham.
And for our final story today, the Midwest has new neighbors, armadillos. As the climate warms, they're moving north, forcing communities to adjust to the unexpected newcomer. Farrah Anderson reports.
Alan the armadillo is kind of a big deal.
Hi.
At just over 5 pounds, he's a permanent resident at Second Chance's Wildlife Rescue in northern Kentucky. As armadillos move farther into the Midwest, the rescue's founder, Brigitte Brouillard, says caring for them has become part of her job.
By default, I had to learn how to care for these guys.
More and more armadillos are starting to call Indiana home, one of 4 Midwestern states, along with Illinois, Missouri, and Kentucky, where the species is now considered established. Warmer winters are helping them survive farther north, and experts say as people reshape the landscape, it's getting easier for armadillos to spread. I'm Farrah Anderson.
That's all for today's episode of WFYI News Now. Our podcast is produced by me, Zach Bundy, with support from the news team at WFYI and public media journalists across the state. Our news director is Sarah Neal-Estes. Kendall Antron produced our music. If you liked today's episode, remember to subscribe and share, and follow WFYI on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to check in on our newsroom throughout the day. Thanks for listening. We'll be back Monday.